Hello and welcome to True Audiofiles. My name's Jim Carter, and today we're going to talk about the remixing of old albums and what, if anything, they're worth to people. Kind of a topic that can be controversial to some. I know there are a lot of people out there that don't like when old albums are remixed. They think that, if it's not broke, don't fix it type of a thing, or it's just something that, they've always grown up with that album, so sounding the way it did, so why mess with it? So, my take on it is this. I am always interested in hearing how they can remix an old album, because in a lot of cases, they have the ability to do some stuff that they just didn't have back when the album's released, like, maybe albums from the 60s or 70s, for example. Because in a lot of cases, what they'll do is they'll take them and they will digitize them into high resolution, all the multi-tracks of the original album. And then they'll go back and mix them, and, they'll either try to keep the integrity of the original sound of the album, or maybe they'll do some kind of modernizing of the mix. And sometimes it's a great thing, and sometimes it's, well, not such a great thing. I have mixed feelings about some of them. I will have to say that one of my favorite remix engineers, if you will, out there is Steven Wilson. Talented musician in his own right, but then he also does a lot of remixes as well. He's done a lot of the Jethro Tull catalog. As a matter of fact, I have one of them as an example right here. This is Jethro Tull, Thick as a Brick. One of the things that I really like that he does on these, and well, Jethro Tull in general, but also other bands that Steven Wilson remixes, is he'll do a 5.1 mix. He'll do, and on that same release, he'll have the original mix in there. And then he'll have the new stereo mix. Then they'll do like a 5.1 mix. And then they'll have a lot of outtakes and extras and things on that nature. Like this one right here, which is the Thick as a Brick. You've got, as mentioned, it's got the original album remixed. But then there's a DVD, and it's got Thick as a Brick in 5.1. And also the new stereo mix in high resolution. Then the original stereo mix, just a flat transfer of that. And then there's a radio ad, where in some of these though are really cool, where they go all out and they'll have like concerts from that time frame, outtakes from the album, things on that nature. Like one of my favorite bands in terms of special editions, and I've talked about this in a previous recording, but this is XTC. This one is Oranges and Lemons, and again, does a lot of the same things that they did in the Jethro Tull box, but so they've got the 5.1 mix. They have the instrumental mix, both in 5.1 and stereo. They've got the flat transfer of the original album mix, and then they'll have basically demo and work tape CD, if you will. And they actually have a couple different CDs worth of that. Then they have rehearsals at Leeds Studio in LA. Promo on ID work that where they're promoting radio stations and things on that nature, and then just some other recordings that were part of in the time frame where this album was done. But that's what I really love about them. I mean, there's probably, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's probably 6 or 7 CDs worth of music in this package, which you basically get a CD and then you get a Blu-ray with all this extra stuff on it. And this was like $30. It's pretty impressive. Another one which definitely has a lot of controversy to it is like the Beatles, like the White Album right here. I personally really, really enjoyed the remixes of the White Album. I thought the surround sound versions were really cool also. And I actually really liked the Sgt. Pepper remix as well. Did not like the Abbey Road one, unfortunately. That one I was pretty disappointed with. Don't know, it just kind of seemed to lose some power that the original one had. You know, the original one was done just so well, and the original mix in stereo was already spectacular because that's what they really focused on with that album. Where the White Album and Sgt. Pepper, the concentration and the focus was on the mono mixes. The stereo mixes were kind of afterthoughts that I don't even know if the band really had much to do with. So that's maybe why I really like the new remixes more, just because it seems like more time was put into them. But you know, I know a lot of people that just can't stand them, and you know, I've really tried to figure out why that is. But I know that there are some people out there that have been honest with me and have told me just straight out that it's just nostalgia thing. You know, they don't want to hear the album in a different way than it was originally put out in stereo or whatever it was. So, and I get that. I understand that. But for me, I love exploring albums that I love in a whole new way, in a whole new light. And a lot of times, you know, doing the digital remixes of them, like I mentioned before, where they take the multi-tracks and mix them down digitally, it removes a layer of tape that is typically used, because when you're back in the old days, you know, you'd mix down to another tape, so you'd add another layer of hiss onto it. So doing it digitally, it removes that extra layer of hiss, so you really get a better clarity to it. So to me, that's one of the major advantages, and that's something that I really noticed specifically on Jethro Tull's Aqualung. In my opinion, that's one of the most obviously improved albums that when it was remixed, because the original mix, in my opinion, just sounded terrible, and Ian Anderson hated it too, and that's one of the reasons why he decided to get that one remixed. And I just think Steven Wilson did such a tremendous job on that, because he maintained the integrity and the intentions of the original mix, but just did a great job of improving the clarity of everything, you know, with the drums and things on that nature. So he did a phenomenal job, and I think I had like almost every single one of the remixes that Steven Wilson's ever done. He's done ones for Yes, he's done ones for XTC, as you saw. I think Gentle Giant, Marillion, several other albums that were out there that I know that he's done that aren't coming to my mind right at the moment. But if you like remixes of old albums, you should definitely try to check out some of his, because his are some of the best that I've ever heard. So that's my take. I would really love to know your take on this. Do you like remixes of old albums? Or do you say leave them alone, and just if you want to re-release them, that's fine, but don't touch the original mix? I'd love to hear your take. If you like what you saw here, please subscribe to my video. If you want to know when new videos come out, please hit that alert button. If you liked this video, please hit the like button. And please, if you want to comment below, please do so. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the subject. So thank you very much, and you have a great day.